hey, we're out of water. We went through so much last night that we're out of water. So if you can and you live in the area, we need water. Good morning from the Portland Music Festival. It is the morning of day 64. Last night was crazy. The same amount of force that we saw on the 4th of July for 400 people was used last night on less than 40. An entire apple box. You guys know how big an apple box is? Full of gas canisters worth of gas. The apartments across the way were gassed. The school has been gassed so many times now that they have to move. They are actually leaving. They were driven out of this building by ICE. Like, it's crazy. They shot up one of our protesters just head to toe. She was wearing a dress, a nice sundress, and they lit her up. They shot her in the foot with a canister and broke her foot. And there was another person that took one to the shin, and it cut him all the way to the bone. There was exposed bone. So they got rushed to the ER because it's hit or miss whether the ambulance will actually show up down here. A lot of times they stop the ambulances a few blocks out and have them stage. And then they don't let them come in, or they won't put out the call at all if it's down for the protest. And we have to either commandeer a community person's car and see if they will take us over to the ER, or we have to get one of our protesters that has a car down here to act as an ambulance service because they just stopped the ambulances. The protester that was in the sundress that was shot up, and I want to remind you that nobody was even in the driveway last night, that everybody was back. Everybody was either on the sidewalk, in the road, in the bike lane, or across the street. So nobody was on their property, nothing. And yet we were treated with this force and this brutality. And the reason why is because they're training new people. But anyway, back to the protester in the sundress. They took her in there. They grabbed her and took her in. And the gas in the cells in there is so bad that she ended up having an asthma attack and passing out in the cell. Like, those cells have been gassed for now 64 days, if not more, because there were a lot of us out here before June 7th when the official count went out. The count is only starting from the moment that the first tent went up and it became the occupation against deportation. But we've been out here for months before that. A lot of us have been out here since January on a regular basis coming out. But all the gas from 2 months worth of gas has accumulated in ICE's cells. And it is so bad and so thick in there that people who don't wear a mask out here, because, you know, we know where to stand, we've been dealing with it so long that we've developed a little bit of a tolerance to a lot of the gas. Unless we're hit with an entire cloud, then we're just as bad as everybody else. But all that gas is just in those cells. They haven't cleaned them out at all. They haven't done anything. They're just laden with gas. So people that are going in there are having a really, really hard time breathing, and there's no escaping it. There's none. You can't go anywhere because you're locked in a cell. I mean, even the ICE agents inside and the DHS agents are having a hard time breathing in there. But do they clean it up? No. That's not in their job description. Their job description is beat protesters and kidnap people. They don't clean. So, it was crazy. It was a crazy night. A lot of people shot with canisters. They were aiming canisters, 44 millimeter canisters. They were shooting at people, not at the ground where they're supposed to be shot. They're shooting them at people, and these canisters are that big and solid metal, and they're hot. Those canisters burn hot, and they stay hot for like 20 minutes after. They are hot, hot, hot. And so not only are you hit with the impact of metal that big and thick and heavy, but you have the burn to deal with too. So a lot of the protesters that are hit with canisters also have that like dime-sized burn from the canister shooting out the fire and the chemicals. So what's happening down here, what happened down here last night is just crazy. We've been doing a really, really good job making sure that protesters are staying back on the sidewalk and on public property. I mean, the Fed building, that is public property. That is public property. The public pays, our tax dollars pay for that property. And usually the only way that they are allowed to trespass you from public property is if you commit a crime. And none of us have committed crimes. Just being there is not a crime. Just standing in the driveway of a closed facility is not a crime. So, and you see protesters, the vast majority of us move out of the driveway when a car needs to go in or out. Like, we don't want to give the ICE agents any reason to poison us and poison our community anymore. We don't want that. So we do everything possible to mitigate that on our end. And yet, no matter what they do, they still keep escalating. The night before, they were freaking out about a flashlight. Anybody that had a flashlight, that had it on or out, they were a target. They were freaking out about a flashlight. Before that, it was the megaphones. They were freaking out about a megaphone. And anytime somebody touched a megaphone, the officers would come out here and grab them and drag them inside, and violently too. We're not talking about just coming up to you and like, hey, put your hands behind your back. No, they are tackling people and then hitting them repeatedly, occasionally choking them. So there's no justification. They're gonna end up unaliving somebody down here. Like, somebody is gonna lose their life. Like, that's just a hard thing to come to grasp with, because I love each and every one of these protesters down here. I love them so much. We might not all get along, but man, I have their backs 24/7, and they have mine. And that's how this works. One of the residents came down last night going hot after we had a really good, like, community meeting about mutual respect, and if you have a problem, not coming down here, you know, like a cock gun. But she came down here hot, and I was telling her, and she started pushing on me, and the instant she started pushing on me, there were 20 protesters right up there, and they stepped right in and had my back. And that's community. We may not all get along every moment of every day, but we get along and we have each other's back when things matter. So, big tent movement, always. Anyway, I'm rambling. Thought I'd give you guys an update, let you know what's happening. It's crazy, but we're out of water. I should have started with that. We need water. So, anyway, stay safe. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for the love. Portland hears it, and we appreciate it. So, you guys have a good day. Stay safe, stay dangerous, and as always, ICE.